We're going to do 1 hour of interpretive dance, and then we'll get the show going.
I love it. I'm in.
We'll just give it another minute to let people come in. Normally, if you'd already been on here for a while, you could ping your friends, just like on the other app. How's my lighting? Is the lighting okay?
Great.
If you click, and if that bothers you, we can always turn it off because people can clap. You guys want to clap? They can laugh. They can do stuff like that. There you go. Look at that.
This is fun.
I think you might consider even using this for your amazing interviews, and we'll talk about that. So let me turn off the wait bot as people are arriving.
This is amazing. I love this.
Isn't this great? So it's called Fireside, and started by a young lady, Fallon Fatemi, I believe was her name, and Mark Cuban is one of the big investors. So I'm super excited to bring all of my podcasts over here, especially with celebrities such as yourself, Kaye Parker from Canada.
Thanks for having me. I love it.
It is wonderful to have you. Let's begin the show because it's already 3 minutes after. Rule of threes, either start on one or start on three. So I want to thank everyone that is here. I know it's Sunday, and Christos Anesti, for those of you that celebrate Orthodox Easter. I just call it Greek Easter because the only Orthodox Christians I know are Greek. So there you go. So happy Greek Easter. Christ has risen. Well, this is good. I forgot to tell you, this is a Christian show. No, I'm kidding. But this is Paul Vato Presents. This is our first episode here. Thank you. It's technically season 2, episode 1. And I have the distinct honor and pleasure of speaking with Kaye Parker, a friend and a business associate. Podcasting, TikToking, a peer, let's say. So, Kaye, I want to thank you for being on Paul Vato Presents and taking time from your weekend busy life to be here. So thank you so much for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me. You're most welcome. I love it.
Isn't this wonderful? I think it's an amazing platform where people can chat like this. You can also put your phone in the horizontal. I think this is great, especially when you have 4 people up on stage. If you want, we can go. What would you rather? Wherever you're most comfortable. If you're more comfortable,
this is great. I'm just playing around. You got sound effects. You can change things. It's fabulous.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're more comfortable laying down or standing straight up, I'm free. I'm willing to do whatever you want. Okay.
Love it.
Wonderful. Well, again, thank you so much for taking time to do this here on Fireside. And for those, I think most people know this, but Kaye, welcome to Fireside because you're new. I'm glad that you were able to sign up with very little, no difficulty. And just so you know, the podcast lives on in here. We can also download it and re-upload it as a podcast. And do you want to maybe begin by telling us just a little bit about yourself and your background and where you're from, and then we can go into other questions and all that good stuff?
Yeah, it's so weird. Like when people ask me, because I'm so used to asking other people, like you were on my show. You're telling me just like recently, what was your favorite episode?
Oh, well, I guess we should let people know that you have your own podcast, of course, which is called, of course, like everyone does, called Trials and Tribulations. And I thought it was amazing. My personal favorite was episode 38.
But I see. You're an entertainment narcissist. That was your episode.
That was my episode. And it was fantastic. I've watched them all. And I must say, it was probably the best one you've done to date. So, and I know that you have now over 70.
Yeah, so I guess I'll back up. Now I'll give myself a bio. My name's Kaye Parker. It's been, I guess, 3 years that the entertainment industry brought me back after I tried to escape it for over a decade. I did the marriage, settling down, baby thing. I did that for a good solid decade. And then I just was having fun on TikTok one day, and then all of a sudden a couple of videos went viral. People started seeing me. Make a long story short, I had my manager that I have now found me on TikTok. I had a couple of managers that found me, and they're like, you have something, like, what was your passion? I was like, oh, well, that was when I was a little girl, and now I have, like, they're like, well, you should, like, think about it, because you have something unique that you can offer people. So then I started going back into doing, like, TV personality. I love these little sound effects. So currently I am this is my third season on Sing for the Shot Canada. So I am a judge on there, which is really exciting. And we actually can start streaming now in June for this upcoming season that we have going on. So that's really exciting. It's a singer-songwriters music competition. I also, again, like we were talking about previously, I have my own podcast, Trials and Tribulations. And yeah, I'm on episode, like, I think I'm in the 70s, and that's not even including the ones that I did in person that I kind of like post on YouTube periodically. I'm not gonna lie, I'm like really bad at technology stuff, as you saw me just trying to get in here. So I'm definitely eventually gonna have to hire a full team and a full studio and actually make this, I don't know, I absolutely love it. And now that I've been doing it consistently for over a year, and the people that I've been having on and the things that I've learned have been it's just changed my life. And yeah, it's just so funny downloading an app just for fun while I was a stay-at-home mom taking care of children. It just changed my life completely. I also recently wrote an article for Authority magazine, so that just got published. And because of that, I've been doing a lot more podcasts. I'm on USA Global TV this week, so that's going to be exciting. And yeah, I think there was one, and I'm going to be in Vegas and I'm going to see you, which is super exciting. So yeah, I just kind of got associated with a clothing line, and they hired me to kind of get it going. So I'm going to be I'm kind of like their marketing project manager campaign. We're just getting the clothing line up and running. It completely correlates to my health and wellness, trials and tribulations. We have the exact same pillars and mission statement. So it was a perfect project for me to be kind of immersed in. And now we're going to go to Vegas and we're going to do a video shoot for a new clothing line we're dropping. So a lot of fun stuff is happening.
That's amazing. And I would imagine, did they find you through TikTok? Is that how they connected with you? Or
yeah, the funny thing with that is they found me through Instagram. So I'm in the art world a lot. I'm absolutely fascinated with art. It's part of like the entertainment industry. I'm on all aspects. So I do acting. I've done acting my whole life. I've also been a dancer my whole life. I've been singing my whole life. I always wanted to be a triple threat. So the visual arts is still a part of that. I love, love, love visual arts. And when I was in Alberta meeting my girlfriend, she was opening up her own first exhibit. She tagged me in a bunch of stuff and they found me through there. And that's just how fascinating social media is. It's all about who you know and posting. You don't know who's watching, right?
that's 100% right. And I had a total, shift of my mind there, a mind shift when I realized that, we should be using social media as content creators for business, not as consumers. There's enough consumers out there, and I was guilty of that, where it was just like, entertain me, click, 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 Facebook, whatnot. And then, of course, when I was like, what a waste of all this time when I could have just been creating content to either promote Vato cigars or promote my acting or anything like that, instead of just putting it out there and just watching other people create and stuff. So it is the power of social media, and I think this is one of those platforms that's like that's really powerful. It makes it pretty easy, for content creators. For example, to do this podcast, I can download it and then re-upload it on my Anchor account and Spotify and whatnot. So you're right. I mean, it's amazing the power of social media.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things about social media is you have so much pressure with the algorithm to be consistent and to be every single app wants your full attention. And so I always tell other creators, like, yes, be consistent. Yes, drive hard. Yes, continue your network. But also, my biggest thing is to make sure you take a time out. Like I was just telling you today, I've literally spent all week essentially taking a time out because as soon as I published my article, my world blew up and I was getting interviewed in the news in Australia. So I'd be working all day, all night, and you're trying to like pull yourself in 500 different directions. And I guess like my biggest thing that I'm learning is how to balance being a creator, being a social media, being the influence. I hate saying it out loud. Just being that personality and just trying to kind of make sure that you're hitting all aspects of your life. Because here I am talking about mental health and wellness, but yet some days, like, how long is it before I like even just feed myself because I'm so busy running around?
That is so true. Was your article on mental health and wellness? And where can people find it?
Yeah, so I do have a link tree. So I have at Kaye Parker Official is essentially where everything is. I just launched a website, but it's not ready. It's just kind of like, hey, I got the link. I put a picture of myself on there, and then I have people that are working on that right now. But my link tree on my Instagram has the link. It's on Authority Magazine Medium.com. But the link's there, and that will kind of bring you to every aspect of my life, including like the shot and trials and tribulations and so on and so forth. But yeah, it was really sad how kind of everything came to be. But the article's about 5 ways to heal after a dramatic loss and life change. And essentially, once I kind of went with my brand full time, that was after the loss of my son, and my whole life changed. So I made a huge article where I shared my story, and it's really sad. So if you want a good cry, like spend 34 minutes reading my story. But it's an powerful one because it's just kind of saying like, yes, I lost my son, and I'm going through a divorce, and for the past 3 years, my life has been all about kind of letting go, rebuilding myself, choosing myself, finding my purpose.
Uh
My son passing away, that I actually found my purpose, which is a really, yeah, it was a really powerful thing.
oh. Would you mind repeating like the last 10 seconds because, or 15 seconds because I don't. You were freezing, and I don't know if it was just me or if it was on your end.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, sorry. I said I'm in the country, so sometimes my internet just goes out. Country girl. But yeah, no, it was, I was just saying it happens when, as soon as my son passed away, that's when I kind of decided to choose me, choose my dreams, follow my passion. And what I went through and still am going through as I'm going through the divorce process, it's actually taking all these things, and I grew as a person and I learned so much about myself and what I wanted. And with COVID and being isolated, it really gave me the chance to kind of look internally and what I liked and what I didn't like. I did a lot of shadow work, spirituality work, mental health. I learned all about emotion regulation, distress tolerance, and my whole life was just, in these past 3 years, was about healing and rebuilding myself and finding myself. And honestly, through all the pain that I've been going through is how I found myself. And now I'm privileged that I have such a platform where, yeah, you know, like my TikTok's all about jokes, and I have so many different, I guess, like tracks of my brand. But my biggest thing right now is just really empowering people through healing. That's been a really big part of what I want my brand to kind of, and that kind of, I guess, correlates with trials and tribulations a lot too, which saved me for this past like 2 years.
Wow, what an amazing story! And I don't know if you'd want to rehash this. I mean, you wrote about it, but I didn't know about your son. So my condolences, and I don't know how long it's been, and not that it ever was going to make it any easier. But is that something that you would like to speak on, or is that something that you could share with our audience? And if you
Yeah.
don't want to, of course, that's
No, no. So it happened 3 years ago, and it was just a really, and I wrote the whole story in my article, but in short, essentially, I was in my second trimester of my pregnancy, and it was around Christmas time, and I went in to get like a routine ultrasound. I just had one a couple of days prior, so they were saying everything was perfect. He looked great. And I go into the ultrasound, and then all of a sudden his heartbeat stopped. And at first I was like, well, that's weird because his heart rate, like I just heard it a couple of days prior. So how in 3 days can a heart just stop? And that was a really hard thing for me to wrap my head around. And so I remember going to my doctor's office because the technician wouldn't tell me, but I have 3 other children. So I know when they just turn off the monitor, they don't say anything, something bad is happening. So I went to my doctor's, and I feel so sorry for the person who was behind the desk because I was like, can I swear on here? But I was like, I'm not gonna wait while you just like tell me that my kid's dead. Like I was just in a total state of like anger, and I wasn't in a good place, obviously. So she brought me right to the back, and the doctor said, yeah, like sometimes miscarriages happen, and there's nothing you're never going to find out the answer. Like, and to be honest, everything was a complete blur. I had my other kids' Christmas concert that night. I had my daughter's dance recital concert that night, and I had a maternity photo shoot that day right after the ultrasound. So that was a really hard thing for me because I was just going about my day and trying to like mask my pain and hide my pain, and I still did the photo shoot. That was the craziest part, is that I told him like, hey, I just found out the baby passed away, but I still want the photo shoot. So now when I look at the photo shoot, it's more or less kind of a different meaning behind it. And it was like that last, I don't know, what he captured is so precious to me now, and I'm so happy I have those photos. But yeah, to make a long story short, I decided to just kind of hold on to him until my body naturally like decided to let him go. And then this all happened in December. I gave birth to him in January, and I was really sick, and I had to go for emergency surgery afterwards due to complications. And my mental health took like a really bad turn. I was in a really dark place. I felt very alone. And then after my surgery, I physically felt better. So that's when I went to Vegas. And that's when, as soon as we landed, I got robbed and they mugged and they took everything I had. And that kind of turned my psyche to like a whole new level because I felt alone again. And I guess that's what really started my healing journey was, okay, at the end of the day, all I have is myself. So I better really dig deep inside my shadow self. And why do I feel alone? And I need to be whole enough that I don't put expectations on anybody else. So I only can look at myself for that. I should be so full and whole on my own that I don't require anything from anybody else. And I did. I had like a massive mental health journey. I made it really, and I was in like this crisis mode where it was like a fight, flight, or freeze. And yeah, you'll read it all if you want to read my story. But essentially, these bad choices and Vegas and all these little things that crept up kind of made it was like the camel that broke the, what's that? The straw that broke the
Straw
camel's
that
back.
broke the camel's back. That's right. Yeah,
And
that one last thing that sends you. Yeah. Do you want to share your Vegas story? Because not to make light of a what could have been a potentially horrible situation. And I'm glad though that you're coming back to Vegas and giving us a second chance. Uh, what happened in Vegas?
yeah, okay, everything does not stay in Vegas in this case. But yeah, so I just had surgery. I just finished a bunch of like iron, so I lost a lot of blood. So I finished all my IV, and I was like functional. So I started going back to work part-time, and I was like, you know what? If we're gonna fix this marriage, we need to get away. I always wanted to see Cirque du Soleil, the Beatles one, Love. That was on my bucket list, and I was like, I would really like to see that. Vegas is not far away. We can just go for a weekend. And I was like, I was like trying to convince my husband at the time. I'm like, okay, listen, I will make this as cheap as possible if you just take me to Vegas. I always wanted to birthday, and it's Vegas. You envision so many amazing things. Yeah.
Sorry, you froze for a second.
Go ahead.
No, you froze for a second, but we got everything. Go ahead.
Okay, good. Yeah, so we decided to go and I booked through Airbnb. I booked like the cheapest spot because I like when you're on the strip and you book hotels, I'm like, well, you have to pay every night on top of that because like there's like a hotel fee on top of the room rates. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, I'm too cheap for that. I bet I could find something cheaper on Airbnb, which I did. And it was right off the strip. So I was like, that's perfect. It's not too far off the strip. This is me, a Canadian girl that literally knows nothing about Vegas, but it like looked clean. The reviews, everything like looked fine. So we took the night flight. We got there really late at night and we get dropped off the plane and we take the cab and I'm looking at where this cab's taking us and I was like, are we in the fucking ghetto? Like, this cannot be any worse. Like, this is not where I booked. And he dropped us off at this place where there's like tons and tons of like these little mini like apartments. But there was no one in the lobby and I had the main address, but I didn't have like the house. So I didn't know where to get the key. I was trying to get a hold of the Airbnb person. Nobody's getting a hold of me. My taxi driver is like, okay, you're here. And he like speeds off like no tomorrow. It's like 2 a.m. And I'm like, okay, I just had this like gut instinct that we shouldn't stay where we were. So I was like, you know what? So I went to my husband and I was like, okay, we gotta find some light. I know this sounds stupid, but I was like, we need to find a public place with Wi-Fi so I could call Airbnb because something's going on. I have this like sense in my gut that something bad's gonna happen. And I was like, let's just find somewhere where there's people so nothing can happen to us. We're new here. It's Vegas. God knows what's gonna happen. So we're walking with all of our luggage. I'm like literally at the dead of night in the ghetto of Vegas. And there's like crackheads everywhere. Like it was like the worst place you can be in Vegas is where I was. And I'm walking by myself. And you have to understand, like my husband at the time is like a skinny white farmer who's Mennonite, German Mennonite, he doesn't really, like he stays within his farm and he doesn't really go far from that. He's an introvert. Let's just put it that way. So we go to this fast food, I don't even know what it's called, but they have hamburgers and fries and all that. I'm not obviously from Vegas. I don't even remember what it was called. And we are knocking on the door to try to get us to come in. And I was like, hey, we just need to make a few calls. And they're like, yeah, we're not opening the door. And so that should have been the first sign that we should have left because they wouldn't even like let us go in to make a few calls because they have to lock up after a certain time. So we were right by an intersection and we were staying like right by the lights. So I'm like calling, my back's turned this way and I'm like calling Airbnb, screaming at them. And I'm like, what is happening? Like I'm in the ghetto. I don't know where to sleep tonight, blah, blah, blah. And they're trying to figure out what's going on. They're trying to contact like the host for the Airbnb. And I turn around and I hear like my husband at the time going like, help, help. And this guy is like trying to take my husband at the time's luggage. And I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, I do not need to deal with this today. So I go behind, I wish this was a joke. I go behind the guy's back, rip him off my husband. He picks me up. He's like swore. I don't know if I can swear on here, but he swears at me, calls me everything out of the book, and like throws me across the parking lot. And then I'm like, now I'm a little scrappy. I'm a little feisty. And so I'm like, all right, here we go. And like my ex could see like the rage in my eyes at this point. And he's like, no. He's like, just let him have everything. I'm like, are you kidding? I'm like, all my best lingerie, no, I'm not letting him have it. That's all my name. Like all my best stuff is in that suitcase. Like I'm not replacing all that stuff. And I had all my passports, everything. I was like, there's no freaking way. He's like, it's Vegas. Guns are allowed here. Please do not get us killed. It's not worth it. So I was like, fine. So like I just drop all my stuff. He takes it and runs with our stuff. And then so we had to call like the sheriff and all. Is that what you guys call them? Sheriffs? We had to call. We spent
It depends. Yeah, it depends where you're at. There's the county, there's Metro, there's the sheriff's department. So
Yeah.
it depends.
Wherever we were, we got the main guys come. They're like, oh no, Canadians. Like, it was a whole thing. And they're like, you are not leaving until like we find your stuff. Long story short, after hours and hours of searching, it was like a whole scam on Airbnb. So this is what they do. And I didn't even know that was a thing. So Airbnb and I had a massive fight for weeks because I was like, well, I'm not paying for all of this. Like, this is your platform. So you need to be responsible. This isn't a me issue. So I got all mad with Airbnb. They resolved it after fighting a lot, but they ended up, I don't know, we were with like a whole bunch of people, but they ended up finding all of our stuff in a dumpster. And it was full of like cat litter and cat pee. And they're like, hey, here you go. And they put everything in a bag and gave it to me. And I was like, I'm sorry. I still don't have a place to live, like to stay. And I was like, and now you're giving me back all this stuff that's full of pee and cat litter. And I'm just supposed to what? You think I'm going to wear any of this ever again? And I was so overwhelmed. And my ex was like in a state of shock. Like, he got like punches to the head. Like, he had a big like thing right here from it. And he's like, he was just, and it's funny because he doesn't even connect it. Like, it's like he totally erased that moment from his brain, which is probably like a defense mechanism, but he definitely was in a state of shock. He just wanted to go home. And I'm like, look, like, we're not going home. We're already here. We better make the best of it. So luckily his father has like condos and stuff like that. So even though I should have done that in the beginning, but I was trying to be cheap, and look what happens when you try to be cheap. Yeah. So we just went to the condo that his dad has, and we stayed there. We got new luggage, new clothes, and we just went about our time in Vegas. But it was kind of dampered because even though we were trying to make the best of it, I never felt so violated in my entire life. And it was crazy. It was just like, I lost my kid and I had no control over it, trying to make memorable, happy moments to save my marriage. And everything just kept on happening. And like for 3 years straight, it's been 3 years since I lost them. Like, my life just started becoming positive now because it was just one thing after another for 3 years straight while I was trying to like deal with everything. It was crazy. But that's my Vegas story.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, I've heard crazy stories, but that's like, hey, welcome to Vegas. Give us all your shit. Normally, at least we let you keep your money and belongings until you're about to leave, and then we'll take everything. But to the day the second you set foot in Vegas, that's what happens. But yeah, I mean, not to blame the victim, but you're right. Airbnb is to blame. They allowed that to happen on their platform, but you're trying to be cheap, and that's what happens. I'm a big proponent of downtown Las Vegas because there are no resort fees at like Binion's or Four Queens, but that's one of the almost casino scams in that in order to get ranked, higher on Expedia and on all these sites, they're like, oh, our rooms are only $50 a night. You're like, what, $50 at Mandalay or wherever on the Strip, and then all of a sudden when you get there, it's like, oh, but it's another $50 a night for the resort fee. So if the room's $100 a night, you're like, okay, that's not bad. I can pay that. But now you're paying $150 or $200. So that's something to look out for. And with Vegas, I mean, it's almost, you want to be safe. You want to be around people. So you want to be either on the Strip or even on downtown Fremont Street. That's where you want to be. And then because you're going to end up spending money on Ubers and cabs if you stay off the Strip. Might as well be on the Strip where you can just quickly get from one casino to, well, it's never quick, but that's why I like downtown, because that is quick. You can hit all 7 casinos in an hour if you wanted to.
And you know what? The condo was great. We went to the condo. They do have like a shuttle service. So the shuttle just brought us like to and back for the rest of the trip. I was so afraid of everybody and everything. I was so spooked out. I would not let anybody touch me. I wouldn't let anybody near me. I was so weird the entire trip. And I went to a smash room where I just broke a bunch of shit because I was so mad at this point. And so one of the things we did was we Ubered to a place, and I just broke a ton of shit, and that was really great. So I recommend that for everybody.
I love that. Well, I can then see how the theme. How long have you been doing trials and tribulations?
Trials and Tribulations, this is my second year.
It's
So I did 1 year of full like healing, just like physical and just trying to like do the actual healing work. And then I think before Trials and Tribulations, my TikTok account was at like 60,000. And that was just me being silly. Like this was just me enjoying having fun with it. And that's when my first manager found me, and he was like, "Hey, like you don't even follow anybody back yet everybody's following you." And he was like, "You have a really cool platform." He's like, "You should like," he's like, "What are you gonna do?" He's like, "It's when you have a platform, it's your duty to do good with it." And I was like, "Right." He's like, "So let's do something positive." He's like, "What do you want?" And it was the first time when somebody really asked me that. One of the things that I learned through my healing is that I'm very much a people pleaser. I'm adopted. So for adopted people, typically, we have this need to be wanted and to be liked and to be needed. And we never want people to be upset with us because we're always just trying to belong and find ourselves through other people. And it's just, I know for me, it's like when somebody's like, "No, we don't want you." It's kind of like you spend your whole entire life trying to get that validation and that from somebody else. So that was something that I learned through my healing. And when I was thinking about that, I'm like, well, what is something that I don't want people to feel? And I'm like, right, I don't want people to feel the way I'm feeling. So what can I do for other people to help them feel seen? What can I offer for people to be heard? What can I do? What can I offer? What platform can I create that makes anybody feel like they belong? And essentially that's what I created for Trials and Tribulations. And it's just talking, I don't have a niche that would defeat the entire purpose. I had a lot of people trying to like bring Trials and Tribulations on board, and they're like, "Okay, like you have to like niche it down." I'm like, but then that's not even my point of my show. I've had celebrities on it, and I also have homeless people who are drug addicts that have this crazy story about how they came out of it through their addictions. And this one person I had, that's what he was. He was homeless. He was an addict. He locked himself in his room because rehab never worked. And he actually like learned how to like do art just to waste the time, I guess, while he was going through like the recovery processes of addiction. And he ended up doing something for 50 Cent, tagged him in it, and then he shared it. And now he blew up. And so people have these stories, and it's just really about giving people the time of day and not just taking a step outside of ourselves, because we're so consumed with our own lives that we actually don't give any time to talk about other people's lives and what they've been through. And so with Trials and Tribulations, we talk about their successes, their failures, and what they've gone through to be where they are today. And the whole point is that I want it to be a non-judgment zone where anybody and everybody can come on, and I guarantee you will connect with something that somebody has to say. And my goal is for people just to connect with one another. Although like you and I look very different, but our insides are the same, our feelings are the same, our insecurities are the same. We all are humans with the same basic human truths of just needing a life, wanting to belong. And once we meet those human truths and kind of open ourselves to other people, that is literally the only reason I think is why I am where I am today. Is because every single week, just like a therapy session, I had somebody come on, and it gave me that little bit of hope, and other people who are watching and being like, "Hey, you're not alone. You can do this. I'm here for you," especially through COVID. And now I have, 70 plus episodes of such a diverse range of people, and they all have the same thing in common. Everybody says the exact same thing. It's when you're at your ground zero, when you're at your lowest you could possibly go, you only can go up. And you can do two things. You can stay in it, or you can grow from it. And at the end of the day, it's what you choose to do with it.
That's wonderful. I mean, I was going to ask you what's been the most important takeaway, but I think you answered it without me even asking you that. And I think we both agree. Of course, episode 38 was the best one of the whole series. But is there another one that that has stood out in your mind, or maybe was the one you already mentioned with the artist that was formerly an addict and homeless? Is that the one, or is there another one that really, that if someone were that you wanted to show Trials and Tribulations, or somebody wanted to uh, do that first episode, is there one that you would recommend?
Like, no, because every single person that I've brought on talks about a specific thing. So for me, saying that one story is better than the other, it's not even or one might be favorited than the other. I can't, because every single episode is so different. Some are just talking about relationships, some are talking about actual businesses, some are talking about some people are talking about gender changes, and becoming like a trans, like there's so much diversity that maybe what one might like would be somebody that would be like, oh, I don't, that's just not something that I'm interested in or that I connect with. But maybe the weeks prior, they're like, oh, this is exactly what I'm feeling. And so it all kind of depends. Like, I had one that it was a lady from like Beverly Hills, and she does celebrity and multimillionaire like VIP dating, where she has a matchmaking business for like very successful like elite class. And we were talking about dating and the struggles of dating and me being divorced and trying to like, okay, it's not fun dating in your 30s, just saying. So that was like a really fun episode for me personally, because it was exactly what I was going through in that moment. So I connected it on a really personal level. Or when I was talking to other moms, like that's when I got really more engaged, because it was something that I was personally going through. When we talked, when me and other actors talk, it's the same thing. But then when I have other guests that comes on that has HIV, and hearing their story, no, I don't have HIV, no, I'm not an addict, but God, did I realize how privileged I was. And it just made me open up. And again, I had to think outside of myself. I was really able to understand what true empathy was. It's not apathy, it's not sympathy, it's true, like, wow. And I took a step back, and I remember like going to bed that night and just learning what gratitude was all over again. Every day I wake up and I say 3 things that I'm grateful for. I write it in my gratitude journal, and I will never repeat the same things. Like, I even wrote like I was grateful for Popeye biscuits because they're really fucking good. And I know it sounds stupid, but like, it's the little things that you're like, wow, this biscuit tastes really good. Food is good. I am so thankful that I have the ability to go in a car, fill my car up with gas, drive somewhere safely, going to a restaurant where I can eat. Just that alone is so different. I went to Guatemala and I did missionary work out there, and where we would travel in the mountains. And I remember going in these mountains, and there's no birth control there. And so if people gave birth to babies, and if they weren't healthy or if they couldn't feed them, they would just leave them. And so like a team of the nuns would come and collect these babies and bring them to the nunnery, and some would be blind, some would be deaf, some would be so malnourished that they were barely left alive, and they'd bring them back to full health and try to get them adopted. And when I was working in the nunnery and just like with these babies, I was in my 20s then, and it was such a mind-blown experience. And I remember after being there for a couple of weeks doing the missionary work and helping out with all that stuff, they drove me to my hotel, and I'm at a Sheraton, I'm in a suite, and I felt so guilty. I was like, here these people don't have water, they don't have food. I remember they were trying to teach me how to fish, and like they don't have a rod, you have these nets and you have to like throw them a certain way. And they're teaching me how to like fish. So like I throw the net, I get the fish, and like They're literally, you're eating what they catch. They brought me to a chicken farm and I had to chase around trying to catch chickens just so I could eat that day. And it's a completely different world. And that's what I also love about Trials and Tribulations, and why I'm so passionate. My goal is to actually have trials and tribulations and bring it around the globe. So I can really show people like, hey, this is reality. Step outside yourself. Really get to know. You think your life's hard? Like, there is so much going on in this world that people don't even realize because they're just so consumed within their small circle.
Where would you want people to either watch or listen to Trials and Tribulations? Because thank you for those amazing shares. It's wow. I mean, what a story. But yeah, where can people listen, or where would you want them to
Yeah.
watch or listen to Trials and Tribulations?
So the majority are on Instagram. If you go to like that play screen, you can see all the majority of the episodes there from when I started till now. So that's on Instagram at Kaye Parker Official, Kaye. The E is very important because if you don't have the E, it's going to be a whole other thing. But if you want to go on my YouTube at Kaye Parker Official as well, I think I have about 12 episodes on there. So those were like in-person episodes, and then I have like the Instagram live episodes. So all at Kaye Parker Official on YouTube or Instagram.
Do you also uh, uh, put them up as podcasts, like on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or anything, or is that something?
So I did when I hired somebody to do all that stuff, but he got a full-time job, a 9 to 5. So now I have to find somebody else, but I am going to be hiring somebody to kind of transfer everything over soon. I am in the rebranding stage. It's kind of, I just hired somebody where I have a lot of pieces, and now we just have to kind of put everything in motion and get everything organized because it's a little crazy right now with my brand.
Well, speaking of your brand and of you, you're like a chameleon, and
I
I mean this
know.
all complimentary. So I hope you take it that way because
I
I
do.
mean you're very talented across all. You know, you're acting, you're dancing, and you're singing and whatnot. I mean, you're a judge. We can talk a little bit about the shot Canada that you're a judge on, but you're such a chameleon. Because like this last one that you posted, I was like, wait, who is that? Like you look totally different. I mean, it's still you, but you can play these different parts, and I think it depends on whom you're working with as a makeup artist or whatever
Oh yeah.
industry you're working. I mean, you look amazing all the time. That goes without saying. But it's like, wait, is that Kay? Like, I almost didn't recognize the last photo. Are you blushing?
I am. You're making me red.
Okay, that's all
No,
right.
and it's so funny because people tell me that all the time. Because like this is me natural. I don't have any makeup on. Like I'm letting my rosacea show. Important thing that I like to do is show the reality of who I am. Yes, I do have really nice photos. I do model. And those photos look so different because I'm in tons of makeup, and that is a big part of me. But this is typically who I am. I'm just this hippie girl, a little bougie, and I'm all about wellness. But yes, I am a very chameleon. I love these sound effects. I can't get enough of them. They're so funny. But yeah,
And if they bother you, we can silence them. But I
no,
love
I
them.
love it.
I
I
like.
love it. I think it's fabulous. But yeah, I'm very much a chameleon. And it's funny because I always tell people, I'm like, especially, I don't want to call them fans. I don't want to call them followers because that feels weird. Because I don't look at people like that. But the people who know me or maybe see me online and they see me in person, nobody recognizes me. And I love that because typically, especially online, I look a certain way. And then when I'm out and about in the real world, I look like a bum. So normally people won't even um, there's only been a couple of times where people have spotted me like, oh, I know who you are. But I like being able to dress up and have fun for work. But I really like just to be my natural self and just show people who I really am about. I'm just chill and I just love getting to know people. I love connecting with people and I love learning about people and I just want to help people grow and with me. That's it.
Well, and on that note, speaking of, yeah, I don't want to get to know anyone. I don't even want to meet them. But speaking of which, let's say hi to everyone that's here listening to our show.
Hello.
I'm kidding. I love everyone, and I'm the same way. I feel weird calling people fans, followers. I mean, but then friends. I feel like especially a lot of people here in this community on Fireside is so supportive, so wonderful. Spending their time watching a live show. So I want to thank everyone that's here live and anyone that's going to listen in the replays because I know that these shows get a lot of replays. So anyone that's here today, you know what? I'm just going to say hi to, if you don't mind, to Lauren, Dave, Mark, Victoria, Sam, Chris, Christian, Rocksteady, of course, Jocelyn, Felicity, David, Woody, and Waitbot. Why not? We'll say hi to our Waitbot. But no, we appreciate all of you guys being here and contributing. And Kay, if you have time, we could even bring up a few people in case they have questions.
Yeah,
I already know
I love
I
that.
know that Rocksteady is going to want to know if you like pies, and I should have warned you about that. And for anyone that's in the audience, that is a callback to an episode that Rocksteady did. In was it? It was must have been Shotgun Candy, which is earlier. It's on Sundays, early morning for us here because he's in Australia, and it was about, of course, sexual deviance. And one of them was Charlie Chaplin, who liked to throw pies at women as part of the audition process. You guys will have to watch that on your own because it's hilarious with that segment. Not that doing that is hilarious, but the way it was presented and Rocksteady showing, because it was in the days of silent movies, so you'd have to show flat cards, So I can't explain it, but please watch it, and then it'll make sense. So when Rocksteady asks you if you like pies, that's what he's alluding to.
Love it.
So yeah, thank you. But and speaking of things that are maybe not that kosher, I love the way you handle your TikTok fans and haters and everyone, and I love your facial expressions. Especially when you're disappointed in someone's comment, I literally have to go back every now and every few weeks. I just have to go back and watch that one, and like you talked about, presenting yourself with all your flaws. Not, and I don't see any, but presenting yourself that way and making yourself vulnerable. And obviously, you're a mother. And there was this one, and I don't even know if I'm going to do it justice by explaining it, but there was one where somebody, it was kind of like it was a neg, something about, you were showing your mom bod and showing it in all its glory.
The
And
big boob one?
yes.
Oh my God, people were loving my saggy boobs. They went on and on talking about how saggy my boobs were. And I was like, okay, let's just take a step back here for a second. Because I love it, no offense, when men have such an input on women's bodies. So not only if you're too natural, you get shamed for being natural. So, oh my gosh, she's had 4 children and then I breastfed for like what I feel is like a decade. Yeah, my boobs are gonna touch my toes, 100%. And that's just the reality. Like, if I were to get implants, then right away I would have got a same comment about, oh my gosh, she's just another one of those because I'm blonde hair with fake tits. So I got to a point where it was like, no matter what I look like, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, somebody is going to judge me on that. So at first I started playing around with all these people and I would start to do like videos in a response back. And then I realized the algorithm changed on my content. So it all became men who were like bashing women. There's some who were standing up for me, obviously. There's women standing up for me. But generally, it became about me, like men or women talking ill, and then me making a video saying, meh, 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 meh. And then I had to take a step back from that, and I was like, okay, I don't want this to be a reflection of who I am. Although it was fun, and I really enjoy making comeback videos just for fun, it became like an identity, and I didn't like how the algorithm kind of caught on to that, because as soon as the algorithm catches you, that means you're doing something so consistently that kind of made it a problem for me. So now I just, anytime, it's very rare if I see a comment, because I'm kind of slower on TikTok now. Like I used to be a lot more on it, and now I've kind of taken a step back for my mental health. I'll go through waves. But right now I'm just focusing on other things within my brand. But yeah, with Kaye Parker on TikTok, I've now kind of, right after that, my algorithm changed to a lot of divorce stuff. And then now that I'm going through a divorce process, my lawyer's like, okay, like you gotta quit it. This is not gonna look good for you. And I was like, yeah, but it's joke. It's like literally what I'm going through, and I'm trying to make light out of my feelings. And if I don't like showcase them, then how am I gonna like come out of it on the other side? But then there's a whole other aspect of, I had to take a moment and be like, if I was my ex-husband, how would he feel? Is this appropriate? And yes, I didn't say his name, and yes, I didn't like, there's some photos and we did videos together before, but now I'm kind of like, okay, like the dynamic of the divorce has changed and I need to respect that. And so I had to take a step back, and now my TikToks kind of have a different change. So I don't even interact with any of the comments now. I typically like delete them right away. Or if somebody makes a comment in the chat about something stupid, I will like block them right away. And I'm just trying to really showcase people. I'm like, yeah, I am going to be vulnerable, and yeah, I'm going to make light of my situation. I am going to make jokes, because healing is not linear. It's very up and down. There's going to be times where I'm doing so good and I'm so happy and I'm drinking all the water and I'm meditating and I'm exercising. But then there's going to be like this week where I grinded so hard from the week prior that I burnt myself out, and now I'm just watching casual, like the new Netflix show, on my couch for like a week straight. And that's okay too. And I'm just eating all the junk food and I'm taking a time out. But that's okay.
Wonderful. Yeah. No. And so, and I think it was because of your expressive face. And I think I don't know if the right word is the exasperation, maybe. I hope I'm saying it right. Where, where he like almost disguised it as a compliment, like, oh, I love mom bods. I mean, I love them saggers, or something like something to that effect. Saggers. He called them saggers. And just the look of pure, I think exasperation is the right word, or if someone knows it, please write it in there, or just like, what are you saying? The pain in that face was just brilliant. What you did with it, and then you responded appropriately, I thought. But if please make sure that you go over to TikTok and give Kaye Parker official with an E, Kaye Parker, a follow, because she's got some great content over there. And I know one of them, not that we should judge ourselves on how many views we get, but I think one of them has like 1.7 million views, and you have 150,000 followers. So I'd love to bring you back and invite you back, and maybe even do a deep dive into TikTok and social media, and how to build that, if it's something that you're interested in, if especially if you have something to promote. So yeah, I mean,
I would love that for sure.
Wonderful. Also, would you have a little bit of time so we can bring people up?
I have all the time in the world for you. I have nowhere to be. This is the only thing I booked just for you. You have my full attention.
Oh, wonderful. Because I know that people would love to chat with you. Oh. So around this time, I'd like to, if anyone would like to come up and meet Kaye and maybe ask a few questions, or ask a question, and then we can have you come up. And if you want to be on camera, great. If you don't, that's also fine. But most of all, thank you all so much for spending some of your Sunday, your Easter, your Greek Easter Sunday with us, your Orthodox Easter Sunday, with us. So thank you guys. And I also wanted to bring up The Shot. How did they find you, or how did you end up being a judge on The Shot Canada, which you said is going to be streaming soon, right?
Yeah, so it's going to be, this season's going to be streaming in June. And The Shot found me through TikTok.
Wonderful.
Yeah, the manager found me on TikTok, and he found me on there, and he was like, hey, I don't know how I'm gonna use you, but I know like you have something special, so I would love to manage you. And he heard my voice, and he didn't know if he wanted to like manage me as an artist or manage me as a host. And he was like, I just know I'm gonna use you for something. So we created a show called Music is Life. where we travel across Canada, interviewing artists, like music artists. And that was great, but then COVID happened. So all we got to do was film the pilot, and then my show obviously got canceled due to COVID, and we just never built it back up. Just the circumstances of the filming industry. And after that point, I got really bummed because I was like, oh, I was this close of having my own TV show. And so that's when The Shot came about, and he's like, well, how would you like to be a judge on there? So I was a guest judge for the first 2 seasons, and then now I'm an actual resident judge, and this is the 3rd season that I've been on. So yeah, I'm super blessed.
That's amazing and wonderful. So I'd like to welcome to the stage a couple of our fellow Firesiders, and always great to have them here. But Lauren and then Victoria. You know what? I'll invite you guys to camera. If you want to be on camera, wonderful. If not, no worries. I'll see if I can figure it out. And I was blessed enough to be with. I did Victoria's one person. It's a one person show that I was a guest on. Sorry, I had to do a screenshot here to commemorate this. Let's see, invite to video. So I've invited Lauren and Victoria, and if you guys, or if you would want to just unmute and ask a question, by all means, please do. And we have with us Kaye Parker. Lauren, if you'd like to quickly introduce yourself, and then if you have a few questions for Kaye, that'd be wonderful. You are muted.
Technology is so annoying. Can we just say that?
I was like, I have no glasses on. I couldn't see. And then in the moment that I pointed to my eyes, I was like, bitch, you fucking about to turn 41. I don't know if I'm allowed to curse on here, Fireside. Sorry. Y'all approved me to be in here in the first place. So,
well, for a second there,
also,
I thought you were going to say, like, how dare you? I'm deaf and I'm mute. And I was like, my name
imagine.
is Paul is all I can say. So, okay. I didn't know you were going into glasses. I thought you were like, deaf.
No, but like, if I had the nerve to be deaf and mute and come on here and ask questions, come on. Come on. No, but I was, as soon as you said that, I was like literally plucking like my chin hairs in there. And I was like, oh shit, let me be on. I was, because apparently when you turn 41, you get a lot of chin hairs and you lose your eyebrows.
Love it. Good thing I have 2 eyebrows.
Yeah, well, I think I was hoping maybe you knew someone, because you're in the industry, that could maybe make like a lace front wig that I could attach to my face. Like if I take my chin hairs and could they do that?
Like a transplant into your eyebrows.
Yeah.
I will keep.
Do you know anybody? Okay. Let me know. My question was this, honestly. First of all, I think that you're fantastic. Paul, you're awesome. You already know that. I'm not going to inflate your ego any more than it already is. But I think that you're like my spirit animal. I'm sitting here listening to you and I'm like, damn, this girl is saying like everything that I say all the time. And I'm sure my husband is sick of hearing is like how I just want to be this like person that shows the real shit. And why can't people just be fucking real? Like what? Like what's wrong with that?
Right.
Like being vulnerable for real. Like, yes, you know what? I'm 41. I'm a mom. My tits sag. I've had 3 kids, I've got stretch marks, like all the stuff. And there's nothing wrong with that. But yet we pretend all the time. And I think it's kind of refreshing that you're doing the complete opposite of that. I had no idea who you were until today, but I'm excited to follow you and see what you got going on. Seriously. You might have a new fan. You might.
I love it.
So, yeah, I'm stoked. So thanks, Paul, for bringing her on. That was amazing.
Thank you. No,
I agree.
I love that you say that.
Yeah, you're cool. It's refreshing to hear. I like that. Honesty I think is important, and you don't get a lot of candor, I think, out of the like in the industry anywhere, or just anywhere in life. You don't get people who have a lot of candor. And I think that's important, and to see that in celebrity of any status is pretty cool. And I think these platforms like this, Fireside, they give you an opportunity to do that, to just be like kind of just normal again and like talk to like regular normal people. I think that's nice.
But Lauren, I feel just like you. Like at the end of the day, I'm a mom and I don't feel like I'm any different than anybody else. The only difference is that I was just lucky enough to get slightly popular on an app, which therefore translated into me being able to have a platform that I could be like, yeah, like I could take my stomach and I could like stretch it out to here from being pregnant for with 4 children. And I'm so tired of women just ganging up on each other and trying to one up each other.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm tired of women just looking like at each other as threats when I'm like, girl, like I purposely don't wear a bra just to like, so because people were commenting on them, now I'm gonna be like, you want to see saggy? I'll show you saggy all day.
Oh yeah. Listen, I only wear a bra for my husband's sake. I literally only wear one because I don't want him, to protect his modesty for me, because I would let these girls swing. I'm fine looking like an Ethiopian mother. You know what? I breastfed 3 kids. Right. Those assholes did this to me. So, I also walk around and I let them know that, like, because you did this to me, I have the right to disrupt your life till the day you die.
I literally have said the same thing to mine every single day. I was like, oh, you think you have anything against me? I was like, you destroyed my body. 2 of you took 18 hours to push out of. Neither of you can ever say anything to me ever again. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have all teenagers. I don't know how old you are, but my children are all teenagers. So it's interesting now. I have a very incriminating picture of my 16-year-old son and his buddy that I'm just waiting to unleash, waiting for the opportunity, man. And he knows I have it. And I'm like, just rub me the wrong way, bro. Just do it. I can't wait. So, yeah. It was nice to meet you. I did have one content creation question for you.
Yes.
In regard to like your TikToks or like any type of like short form content creation, do you tend to batch create? Do you feel like that is a good thing to do, to create a batch of content that you can just blast out all week? Like you just create on one day and then you're done and then you move it along to like your other tasks?
There are people that literally do that. So they say they'll every single week, they will spend one day on drafting on the content that they want to create. And then in one day, it's their content day where they literally the entire day, they just do content. So they take their drafts of what they want to create. Because you have to remember, you have to technically, in order to be successful on social media, the algorithm for TikTok right now is you have to have 4 videos a day. And it has to be spread throughout the entire day. So in order for you, and you have to do that consistently, and that might change, but right now, 4 videos a day. So for normal people that are doing this full time, they will have a content day where they'll just know exactly what they want to do. But for me, I have so much going on that I started off like that. That's how I got the following that I did. And honestly, if I were to do TikTok full time, I would be able to get to where I want to go in no time. But because I'm not consistent with it like I used to, I only do like 1 a day, but they don't even get the views I want because I'm not being consistent with it. So for me, I just do 1 video a day, if that. I haven't really posted anything in like a couple of days, to be honest. And that's only because I've been so busy and just taking a time off. But I would just say whatever is a balance for you. And just, I like to do everything that's on trend. And what's really interesting about TikTok and generally all social media apps is things are trending, but they're only trending for so long. So, and if you're creating original content and you have a specific niche, that's one thing. But if you're actually just doing TikTok by saving pre-made sounds and you're just having fun with it, those trends are only trending for so many minutes, so many hours, so many days. And you want to get it before it spikes. So you always have to kind of be aware. So I guess it just depends on what kind of creator you are, on how you want.
Yeah, I'm definitely more like a very specific content creator. My background is I'm a licensed massage therapist. I specialize more like sports massage. And I'm obsessed with gut health and nutrition and all that stuff. I was a powerlifter.
So then I guess since that's specifically niche, I would do a content creation day where you formulate the day before exactly what you want to film, the trending sounds you want to use. Take the time to really understand your niche, and every day post something, like do a series and be like, hey, this we're going to talk about gut health. This week we're going to talk about this, and this week we're going to, and showcase that in all your videos for the week. Choose a topic and niche it out. That's what I would recommend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Thank you so much, Paul. You're awesome. Be safe, y'all. And happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Nice to meet you.
Thank you so much. This was great, Paul. This was my first time tuning in, and like live. I only ever get to hear you in the interim, and this was great. Oh.
Not listening.
You're muted. You're muted.
Not listening.
You're muted.
Paul rocks.
You're muted.
It was like, I'm deaf.
You're blind. You're blind.
I was saying, thank you, and please share it. What the replay once it's done, it would really help us out.
100%. Seriously,
especially now that I'm here on Fireside doing all my content here. Of course, I want to get it out there, and I want to get the word out. And then, Kay, I wanted to ask you: is it Linktree, Linktree / Kaye Parker official? Is that your website? Is that how? Okay. So if you want to double check,
I did follow some of your stuff. Yeah, I did. I did click on you. I followed your Instagram, and I'm going to grab your TikTok too. But I'm interested. Yeah, you're cool. You're a cool chick. Keep doing it.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you so much.
Bless you guys.
You're welcome to stay on stage if you'd like, or I can.
Listen, I don't want to steal your show, okay? But I'm a mute.
Okay, wonderful.
You know, we from Brooklyn. You know, we talk a lot. Let me shut
up. Oh, I know. No. Thank you. Victoria, welcome. I don't know if you'd like to, if you have a question or if you'd like to come on video. If you do, if not, no worries. But welcome, Victoria. Thank you so much for being.
You don't want to see me on video right now, but another time, definitely. So great meeting all of you. Paul, I love you. Paul, yes, you were on my show. One Nation, One Mission, One Promise. We got to do more. It was just, you were just amazing and fantastic. I had such a great time. Kate, is that how you pronounce your name? Kate? How do you pronounce your name?
K-A-Y-E. Just like the letter K.
How do you pronounce it?
Just K.
Oh, just K? Oh, gotcha. See, I'm making it so complicated. Kay, what a joy to meet you. I know, right? See, you're teaching me already just with your name. And I love, Lauren, it was so great listening to you and hearing your comments and point of view. And I was just
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure. And to just continue with this conversation about being real, I think one of the beautiful things is the more we're all real on camera with each other, it really allows other people to recognize that they don't have to put that pressure on them about having a facade, about
then Victoria,
about
if
being
that's the
perfect.
case.
And the thing that I often think about when people start saying things like, oh, this is what's happening to you, and oh, how can you look like that, or how can you be like that? I often think it says so much about that person and who they are and what they're putting themselves through. And I think that's another thing is to really say to ourselves that this, if someone's projecting that it isn't about us. So I just love everything that you're doing, Kay, and I just followed you just now while talking way before they told me that I could. I just went over and started looking at you. I was like, oh my gosh, this is cool. Thank you so much for the tip about TikTok. I just started on TikTok and I spent the day trying to do 4 videos. I got through one. I did 28. I created 28. I did the batch thing, but I uploaded 4 of them throughout the day. And I was like, oh, I'm not getting much reaction.
That
Maybe
takes
I'm not
time.
supposed to
You
do
have to
4 a
be
day.
consistent. And just remember,
Yes.
as soon as you stop the consistency, that's when everything will change. So it's funny because yes, I do have multiple videos. One's like 1.9 mil, another's 1.8 mil, 1.7 mil. You do get those numbers, but that's when you're, like I said, the app's goal is to have you on the app as much as possible. So the more you involve yourself in the app, the more people see you, the more people hear from you, the more interactions you make. That's when that's when you're going to become successful. So right now I'm on a hiatus, and you can really see it because when I post a video, I get less than 1,000 views, and I have a lot of views, and they won't, it's just the algorithm won't push out my videos, and they're not going to tell you that, but that's the reality. And I'm not here bashing an app because the app's great. It's just that the algorithm craves consistency. So the more you just don't put in the time and the effort and do good content creation with good lighting, originality, they're gonna see that, and they're not gonna push your videos, and you'll get a couple of views because you're new and you just started, but they want to see what else you got. They want to know who you are. They want to understand your niche. They want to get a full idea if you're gonna be what they need you to be to make the money.
Absolutely. And and that's actually with every app. So thanks so much for sharing that. I wanted to touch base with you, and I'm so sorry about the loss of your son. And I actually lost one of the loves of my life 2 years ago. I lost my mom.
Sorry.
Thank you. And it was very, 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 very challenging. And then I had just the most, I feel her all the time. And I just had the most incredible experience with her not too long ago, which really uplifted my grief to another level. And I was wondering for you, do you find that you're enjoying life even more in honor of an appreciation of having gone through grief? Is that something that you're experiencing right now? Because that's where I'm at right now, where everything I do, I want to just have the greatest time in honor of feeling that kind of loss, because it just makes me appreciate life and loving life that much more. Is that something how are you moving forward with it? Is that something you're experiencing?
I love that you said that because this is you're in, well, let me just backtrack a little bit more. When I was studying grief, there is stages to grief, and you're
Yeah.
at that stage of well, it's kind of like it's like acceptance and building anew. And that's very common with people who had a dramatic loss. So when you are going through a dramatic loss, you have to realize that the people that are going through that know what it's like to have something taken away from you that leaves your whole situation or circumstances of your complacency. And that's not said in a mean way. It's just everybody lives a complacent life typically. It's everything comes routine. You do the same things every day. You go to your job, you eat. It's just routine. And then the universe shakes you up a little bit. And through your grief and understanding your feelings and the ups and downs of grief, you get to a point where you realize, wow, life is really short. And making memories, creating that connection, having those emotions, the vulnerability, putting yourself out there, taking those risks, those become very apparent. And I don't know if you found this with yourself, but for me, the friends that I used to have 3 years ago before I lost my son, I don't have, I think I might have less than a third of them left. And the people who I now have surrounding me are completely new. And I always like to talk about vibrational frequencies, and now my hippie side's really going to come out, so I'm sorry in advance, but I'm not sorry. When you're in a high vibrational state, you're actually, the energy that you're putting out is what's going to be reciprocated back to you. So as somebody who has experienced a dramatic loss, I'm at a vibrational frequency where I've overcome so much trauma and grief. Now I'm looking at life differently. I always talk about how my son's death, he had to sacrifice his life so I could get mine back. I was very unhappy for a very long time. Again, I was a people pleaser. I was living the life that other people expected me to live. And I did that for 31 years, where I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to be a good girl that puts my head down, that only speaks when I'm spoken to. I'm a good Christian girl, and I'm going to go to school. I'm going to get engaged. I'm going to have a baby. I'm going to, well, get married, have a baby. And I had all the steps. I did them not in the right order, but that's what my family said was the way I should live. And that's what I thought was best for me. And it wasn't until my son died where I was like, I really took a step back and I'm like, what am I doing? And now I look at life and I'm in an understanding where life is what you manifest, and what you say will come into fruition. And I really had to learn how to be mindful of my thoughts and my words, because your brain is like a computer. Your energy is only going to reciprocate what you're putting into it. So if I'm saying that I'm nothing and I'm worthless and I'm a nobody and that is what I'm telling myself, and that's the frequency that's coming out. So when all these bad things kept happening to me and all these people who were surrounding me were doing bad things and I found myself in bad situations, all I could blame was myself. It wasn't until the moment where I was like, well, why don't I manifest for something better? Why don't I dream bigger? Why don't I take that time to actually really take a step into myself? And what is joy? What is happiness? What brings me pleasure? And so I started doing this new thing, and it's very simple. And I've been living this way for a while. It's I wake up and I'm given an option or a choice. And I quit my 9 to 5. I had benefits. I had, I don't know what it's called, but like a pension. I had a pension. I had the life that I was told I should always have. And I gave it all up for my brand. And I didn't know what was going to happen with it. I just knew that every day I wake up, when I choose to do something, I ask myself, is this going to make me happy without causing any harm to others? If it's a yes, I do the thing. And that is how I live my life now. It's just saying yes to things that serve me. And some people may call me selfish. Some people, I've lost a lot of friends because they're like, oh, it's all about you. And I'm like, yes, it is. And that's not saying I don't put other people first. That's not saying that I don't take time out of my day to connect with friends or help them out. That's not what I'm saying. It's saying, yes, I'm putting boundaries. Yes, I am selfish because I'm choosing my happiness first. Yes, I am going to live the life that I'm manifesting. And I do know I'm going to get there. And I even tell people now, and Paul and I've probably talked about in the past, it's like, yeah, I might be in this moment now, but I won't stay here forever, because I'm already manifesting where I want to be. And I know I'm going to get there. So it's just me continuing to have those healthy choices, that positive mindset, that's stepping out of your comfort zone, that complacency to be like, yeah, people are going to come and go when you least expect it. And all I know that I have is right now. And right now I'm here with you, Victoria. I'm here with Paul. I just spoke to other people and I'm telling my story. And that's where my energy and my time is being focused on. Because all I know is now. I don't know what the future is going to hold. In the past is the past. There's no point in looking back. And that's kind of where I'm at.
And that's wonderful. There are two things that you mentioned here that I just want to, I'm so it is not a hippie thing. It is actually life. It is being present. And there's something else that I want to add, because that's so what I believe in for the longest time, which is called the law of attraction, really, and vibration and connecting with that. And the beauty of it is that if you start to think about and really align with the joy of your thoughts, and you start to think, because a thought will come or a feeling comes, and you think, well, is that really how I want to feel? And then you could start, and you know that you have more control over your mind than you think about. And one of the things that I started to do and not just about every morning, but every chance I have, which is so beautiful and so magical, is what's called, and I got this, I don't know if you listen to Abraham Hicks, who I really love, but one of the suggestions is segment intention. So, for example, we're here together right now. And before you come on the show, before I came on this show, I would write, Paul is amazing. Of course, he's going to have a great guest. I'm going to come. I'm going to have a good time. So I'm already setting myself up for a great experience. And 9 out of 10, it amazes me what returns. And if it doesn't, then it's like, oh, okay, maybe there's something here that I have to work on. And I love that you talk about that, because that is magic. That's the magic of life. And the second thing is, we all think about making investments. I'm going to invest, in this property to get equity. I'm going to invest my money here. I'm going to invest there. And the greatest investment that I always ask people to think about as well, invest in your memories. Try every day to create one great memory. If that's all you can do, then try and do that. So I love your work. I love that you brought that up. It's just so amazing. And yes, Paul, I can't wait for you to have Kaye back and to talk more. And thank you so much for having me and sharing this amazing information, and knowing that you're just having the most beautiful ripple effect around the world. And I just wish you joy and continuing success. And I can't wait to meet you and connect with you again. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you, Victoria. You're amazing and wonderful, and you're a great asset to this platform and the content creator community here on Fireside. And personally, I want to thank you for having me, believing in me and bringing me on to your show, which was amazing. And same with us, people in the audience that have either asked me to come on their shows and whatnot. So I'm sorry if we let you down this time, but keep thinking positive. And no, I'm just kidding. I think this has been a great show. So thank you, Victoria.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome to stay up, but if not, yeah, pop back down. And if you want to come back up, just let us know. But I
I'll
think
stay
we're getting close to the end. Yeah, thank you, Victoria. I think we're getting close to the end. Kaye, is there anything else? Is there any final thoughts? Or I'm actually, if you don't mind, I'm going to promote my next show, which I probably shouldn't schedule shows back to back, because I have a feeling one of these shows is going to go for, I'm going to pull a Joe Rogan and go for 2 or 3 hours or more. But at 4 p.m. in about a little bit over half an hour, I have my good friend Bill Cott. So if you guys want to come back for that, that would be amazing. Or we might still be going. I don't know. But Bill Cott is at 4 p.m. And Bill Cott, you know him from The Ringer. He was in the movie The Ringer. He was in Galaxy Quest. He played Fred Mertz with the live I Love Lucy show. He's just a very talented improv coach. He's an award-winning improv coach, and we're going to talk a little bit about his career and about improv and about all that. And then in the following week, thank you. Yeah, the following week we have Naomi Grossman, who played Pepper on American Horror Story, and a couple of seasons there, and American Horror Stories, the spinoff. And she's from the Groundlings in Los Angeles, which is the long form improv and sketch comedy troupe that people get hired from when they go off to Saturday Night Live and whatnot. She's also a yogi. So that's Naomi Grossman. And then on Tuesday, I have my friend Joe Stapleton, who is a color commentator for the World Series of Poker. And very funny. He's doing a stand-up. He used to open for Norm Macdonald. He and I were actually working on doing a show in Vegas. And obviously it turns out, for reasons that I didn't know at the time, why that didn't end up happening. But and then Chris Cluse, who is a writer, producer and writer, but he's most well known for SCTV, and I met him when he was doing Mad TV. So these are some great shows that are coming up, and I would love for you guys to come back and listen to those. But Kaye, thank you so much for taking time out of your out of your busy schedule and sharing it with us, because I think that people really got a lot out of it. So thank you. Is there anything else that you'd like to bring up or chat about, or
No, I guess.
how can we?
Yeah, just thank you so much. And any support means anything. And even if it's just you listening in today and supporting Paul, like that's all that it's about. And yeah, you can find me on all platforms except for Twitter. I'm not a Twitter girl. That's just one more app that I'm just not interested in putting my time into because I can't split myself up anymore. But it's at Kaye Parker Official. And yeah, I have the clothing line coming up. So if you guys are following me, you're going to see a lot of that going on. If you want to meet in person, I'll be in Vegas from May 1st to the 5th. So if anybody else is in Vegas, let's all get together. I think it'd be so great to, meet and get to know each other in person. Otherwise, I will. Instagram is kind of where you'll see my day-to-day, my behind the scenes. TikTok is more of just, I'm in a mood and I make a video and I post it. And I do lives on TikTok, so I do Cooking with Kaye, which is very fun. I have so much fun doing Cooking with Kaye. Last time my stove caught on fire, so that was hilarious. And this is why you need to come watch Cooking with Kaye, because something always happens every single time, but the food always turns out marvelous, even if my whole stove is on fire. And I also I do Mindful Mornings with Kaye. So there's times where I do like meditations and where I talk about like distress tolerance or mental health. I do a lot of series like that sometimes, depending on how much time I have. But just all the follow and supports would mean everything to me in whatever capacity you care to do so that resonates with you. So just, thanks so much for having me on.
Kaye, it's been wonderful, and I'm so looking forward to Las Vegas, because I'd like to. I'll protect you. I'll do my best to protect you while you're here, but we won't let anything bad happen to you. This time we'll turn it around, and maybe we can collaborate on some kind of TikTok video, or it's amazing because it's not what's important in life, but I had a video hit like 730,000 or 740,000 views. And I was like, wait, what? Like it was just mind blowing that one video has a little bit more than 15 years on YouTube. Obviously I didn't pay attention to that platform, but it's incredible. So your success is incredible not just on TikTok, but in life. So thank you so much. And I, really want to wish you continued success. You're such a beautiful person on the outside and on the inside where it counts. So thank you for taking the time and sharing it with us.
Thank you so much.
Is that it? Anything else, Kaye?
Oh my gosh. I think, I don't know. I think I'm all out. I'm usually the one in your shoes where I'm just like asking the questions, but it's been funny these past couple of weeks. Like I said, ever since I wrote the article out, it's been the opposite, where I'm now going on shows and I'm like, oh, we're talking about me. Okay. I don't know.
Well, you make an amazing guest, and maybe it's because of your experience of being on this side where you're the one that's always asking questions. So maybe it's nice that you have that experience, because now you kind of know where the conversation can go and what you as an interviewer want to hear. So I think it's wonderful that you've had that experience, because you're an amazing guest. So and get used to it, because more and more people are going to want to interview you, of course.
Oh, no, yeah. I think it's all about just talking about what resonates with people. And I love that you're able to bring people up. And I love it when people ask questions, because that enables me to be able to give them the information that they specifically want to know. So this platform's amazing. Everything that I'm seeing, I'm like, okay, I need to start doing this for my show. I'm obsessed with it. And I thank you so much for having me. And if anybody has questions, like, feel free to DM me, or if you want to work with me, just always reach out. I'm super chill, and let's create that connection.
Wonderful. Well, as soon as you have a few minutes, when you come back on the app, you'll see in the bottom right, normally that's where you hit to start a show. But I think if you're not a content creator, you can always hit that and pitch your show. And I think that within days, you could be a content creator on here. And we would love to have you on this platform. I think you kind of saw the way it works. I think the picture quality is, it's better than Instagram and whatnot. I know that you have your fans both places, but there's no reason that you can't record it here and then re-upload it somewhere else, or chop it up and put it up as short clips on Instagram, the shorts and or the reels and TikTok and all that. So yeah, thank you so much, and I hope you decide to come over here.
Yes, I think I'm going to. This is amazing. I love it.
At least every now and then you could grace us with your presence and do something.
Anytime you'd like me on, I'll come on.
Oh, okay. Let's do it again next week then.
Perfect.
Every Sunday. Okay. Well, Kaye, thank you so much again for being here. Please, everyone, follow Kaye. You can find me at paulvato.com or vato.tv. If you can click on the link there, the link tree will take you to Kaye Parker Official, and follow all of her social media and all that. So, folks, thank you so much. That's the end of the show, and I think I can play. Do I play WaitBot? I forget what the protocol is, but I'm going to invite the WaitBot up. And thank you guys so much for being here. And in about a minute, we'll close the show down. Thank you.
I love it.
Hey, thank you. You're the best. I love you. Bye-bye, everyone. Thank you guys for being here. Thanks for coming. We'll see you guys then.